Saga Glimmerfest 2023! Hello all Saga fans and future Saga fans. Thank you for being patient as we're starting just a bit later than we expected. Welcome to Saga Glimmerfest 2023 for Saga Day. I am Kaori and I will be guiding you through the show. So let's start off by going over today's program. Next slide, please. Okay, so on this Saga Day, we'd like to present to you the latest news on the next upcoming title, Saga title Emerald Beyond, and other interesting information about the entire Saga franchise. And we have received various queries from the fans for today, and the Saga team here is ready to answer them. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the members here ready for the show. First and foremost, here is Mr. Kawazu-san, the creator of the Saga franchise.
Hi, hello, I'm Toshi Kawazu, director of Saga Emerald Beyond. I cannot speak in English, so I speak in Japanese. 朝早くからご覧になっていただいてありがとうございます。短い時間ですけれど一緒にサガエメラルドビヨンドのお話を楽しめればと思っています。
Thank you all. I know it's early morning for a lot of you today, but thank you for joining us today, and I hope you're looking forward to hearing the latest Saga Emerald Beyond news.
All right. And next to me, we have the producer, Mr. Ichikawa-san.
Hi, guys. Hi. I'm very excited today. I'm very happy because this is my dream come true. That I want to do the live streaming for the Western world, worldwide, global. So many global Saga fans is send me the email or message. So I want today is very happy to communication with you. Thank you for Saga fans and the future Saga fans. I'm very excited. So today's Japanese live streaming is very delayed. So little bit starting timing is a little bit changing. But thank you for your patience today. I'm very happy to meet you. Thank you.
It's 11:30 p.m. in Japan, by the way. So, and we have, of course, everyone's favorite, Neil Broadley.
Hello, hola, bonjour, hello, annyeonghaseyo, ni hao to all Saga fans all throughout the world. My name's Neil. I'm the localization director of the Saga franchise, and I am super stoked to be here today, chatting with all of you about my favorite franchise, the Saga franchise. And we're here today. We've got about an hour-long program chock full of information for you. Especially about Saga Emerald Beyond, our latest upcoming Saga title. So it's about an hour-long program, and we're glad that you're here joining us today, and I hope you stick with us until the very end. Thank you for coming.
Okay, so before we move on, I'd like to explain a little bit about why today is so important, why today holds such a significant date in history. So all the Saga fans probably already know, but if you're new to the series, Saga Day is today, December 15th. This is the day that Final Fantasy Legend came to worldwide in 1989, December 15th, and it's about 10 years since we started live streaming, right, Neil?
Yes, it's been about 10 years. So this is called Saga Day. December 15th, 1989 was the day that the original Game Boy Saga released back in Japan. And so kind of every year on this day in Japan, we have this celebration going on where we have a live stream event, we talk with the fans and stuff like that. And a few months back, I was talking to Ichikawa-san, and I said, you know, it's really cool that we do this event for the Saga fans in Japan. Why don't we try doing something for the Saga fans globally this year, too? Because it's a special event. We've got a new title coming up. So it's the perfect time to kind of celebrate with everyone who loves Saga worldwide. And Ichikawa-san said, that sounds great. Let's make it happen. And so that's why we're here today in our first ever English language Saga franchise live stream broadcast to kind of share this day with all of you. And we're just really glad that you're here with us today.
Maybe there are so many Saga fans. The first title of the play, the Final Fantasy Legend fan. That is not at the first. There are no saga Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, 3, it is in the global as the first. But the Romancing Saga series is not released in the Western market.
Right.
Yes. So Saga Frontier fan and Romancing Saga, Saga Frontier 2, Romancing Saga Minstrel Song, Unlimited Saga. This title is released. So Saga franchise is well, maybe the Romancing Saga period is stopped.
Very long. Yes.
The recently, of course, we released, but I want to expand this IP for the global. So this is today is a festival.
Really celebratory day.
Yeah,
yes?
celebratory events.
Yes, agreed. And Kawazu-san,
Yes.
agree?
Yeah.
So if you can give me the next slide.
Yes.
I'm going to get to the latest information. So now that we know why we're here today, let's give our fans who are craving some information, more Saga information about Saga Emerald Beyond. Next slide, please. Oh, it's already up. Okay, so I'm curious about, let's start with the title. Ichikawa-san, what was the process behind coming up with the title, this Emerald title?
Yeah, as a first, before the after the Saga Scarlet Grace, we discussed about the next project, and but already Kawazu-san is decided to green emerald.
Okay.
He said that エメラルドって最初からずっとおっしゃってましたよね。
最初から決めてましたね。エメラルド。
Yeah, so Kawazu-san, you talked about emerald at the very first start, and Kawazu-san said, yeah, that was kind of the first thing we came to mind.
Got it. So the previous title, if I remember correctly, it was Scarlet Grace, and that was red, and this time it's green. Is color an important part of the series in general? Color?
色が大事だったっていうよりはゲームに限らずですけど、いろんなシリーズものって123番号とかつけていったりするんですけど、もうちょっとそういうのは古いなと思ったんで、何か新しい形で、シリーズだって分かりつつもそれぞれのタイトルが独立しているっていうのが、うまく伝えられる方法ないかなと思っていたところで、1作目の、サガスカーレット・グレイスは、世界設定的にその、カラーが黄色っていうか赤のイメージの、敵が出てくるので、その神様が出てくるんで、それをイメージして、色がついてたんで、じゃあ次のタイトルも何がしか色をつけていこうっていうふうに決めて、赤だったし、次は緑だなっていう。はい。
So I think going with a lot of titles, when you think of sequels and games that kind of come out in sequence to one another, a lot of games go with a 1, 2, 3 naming franchise, but that's a little passé, I think, in this day and age. So we wanted something that would make people know that this is part of a series, but also stand apart and be its own independent thing. And so Saga Scarlet Grace, obviously you have the color scarlet, which is red, and red was a very important theme in that game. You had red enemies, obviously Firebringer was red, there was a lot of red in that game. And so when we were creating the next title, we know we wanted to keep the theme of color in the game to kind of have that kind of connectivity between the titles without making it clear that it was just, a direct sequel or anything like that. And so, we started with red, and to me, kind of the next step up was, okay, we go from red to green. That makes the most sense. And that's how we came up with green as kind of the theme for our next title, Saga Emerald Beyond.
That makes sense. I mean, when we talked about doing the stream, the only email I got was just stay in the green family. So that's why I have my green ring. You have
I got
a green
my green
scarf.
scarf,
I got
green T-shirt.
Yeah, so we're all
T-shirt, green
color-
necktie.
Mr. S T-shirt.
Oh, Mr. S
Yeah,
from
this
the
is
game.
a character of the Final Fantasy Legend 1.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. S, everyone's favorite,
Mr. S.
favorite slime-like
Yeah,
humanoid.
so
Thank you for the insight to all this. But what is a game without a new trailer? So I think we have a trailer here. So
Yes.
let's take
Yes.
a look at the brand new trailer. Here we go. Roll the tape.
Well, during the old regime, the Mito family churned out a whole bunch of ministers. But what the books don't say is that our real family profession involves manipulating Kugutsu. So no, yeah, I'd be happy to chip in with this cathedral project of yours. Well, the Emerald Wave is pointing me toward that door over there. I got no heckin' clue what I'm supposed to do here. Although I do get the feeling the path I'm meant to walk lies ahead.
A release date.
Yes.
That's amazing. The fans must be super excited to hear that. That they will be living this game together in real time. Everybody will experience it all together.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what we saw in the trailer. Please go to the next slide.
Yeah, actually, Cody, can I say something
Of
before we go
course.
to the next one?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are a couple things I want to mention about the trailer that you may have noticed. So first, I saw some questions on the internet when I was kind of prowling the past few months. And people were asking if there were English voices in the game. And yes, as you can see in the trailer, we have English voices. Everything that's voiced in Japanese is voiced in English in the English version. You'll be able to hear the English versions of all your favorite characters in Saga Emerald Beyond. And second is the release date. So we have the release date right up there, April 25th, 2024. And I'd like to point out that this is the first time that we've done a simultaneous global release for a new title.
First time.
First time.
Wow. Okay.
We've done simultaneous releases for remasters, but for a
Gotcha.
completely new title, it's our first time.
Okay.
And excuse me, that's something that we're really committed to, is to bringing the experience to both our Japanese fans and our global fans at the same time. We want everyone to be able to experience this game together and talk about this game together with all of your friends from all throughout the world. And that's why it was really important to us to make sure that everyone got the game at the same time, right, Ichikawa-san?
This is the first time to release in the latest title, the Saga title, spontaneous time. And this title is, I explained after that, because this title is everyone player individually, the player can change the non-linear story. So if you play that, I want to the connection of the Saga fans in Japan and the global fan is I want to connect it. So, and people share the information about how to overcome this enemy or something. What happened at this event or this conversation. I want to connect it with the global fan and the Japanese fan.
In real time,
I think Ichikawa-san's totally right. One of my favorite parts of the Saga franchise, and this has been the case ever since I've played it since I was, knee-high to a grasshopper, basically. But the idea of talking with your friends and kind of sharing experiences and comparing your experiences is very integral to the Saga process.
I see.
And kind of leaving the global fans out of that for months or years at a clip while the Japanese fans get to experience that, that's not really what Saga's all about. So we want to really be able to connect people and bring people together. And that was really one of our goals in creating a simultaneous development cycle for this product.
That totally makes sense. That's super interesting. My next question is for Ichikawa-san. If we can go to the next slide. I wanted to know a little bit about the players in the game. So Tsunanori, can you tell me a little bit about this protagonist?
Yeah, he is a Japanese, not normal, but a high school student. Yeah, he's a good guy, and he lived in the Miyako City. Miyako City is a very one of the traditional city in Japan. In Japan, like countries, and maybe some of the global fans feels the essence of the Japan,
very
like,
Japanese
style.
When you're there,
So he animated the Kugutsu puppet. He controlled everything, and he tried to find out the secret of the Miyako City. And his family, the Mido family. That is the story.
Understood.
But this is maybe the Saga beginner is very easy to play this character.
Understood.
Yeah.
ですよね、川瀬さん。どう思います？
What do you think, Kawase-san?
いやそうですね。彼を一番最初に作ったんですね。キャラクターとして作ったし、ストーリーも実は彼が最初に作って、でそのせいで エメラルド・ビヨンド世界全体の謎に、一番深く関わっているキャラクターで、彼のストーリーを追いかけていくことで、世界の全体像が実は見えてくる。ちょっとこう、いわば主人公の中でも一番こう主人公なのが彼なんですよね。
So I think one thing I want to point out is that Tsunanori was the first character we created when we were creating the protagonist for this game, and his was the first storyline that kind of came together. And in many ways, he's kind of the quintessential, stereotypical protagonist that you would find in these kinds of games. And as you go through his story, you'll find out that he's one of the most connected characters to kind of the central core story of the game and the secrets that are at the heart of this entire universe that we're a part of. And as you go through Tsunanori's story, you'll experience more and more about the core of what this game is about.
Understood. So thank you so much, Kawazu-san. I do have a question here. If we can roll to the next slide. There is some kind of problem that people are facing in Miyako City, the heart of this game. Can you tell us a little bit about Miyako City, Kawazu-san?
綱乗りっていうのは、先ほど御堂家という、古い家柄の家に属しているんですけど、その御堂家っていうのは、いわば1000年ぐらい前からずっと宮古市や、この国ですね、その属している国を、守るためにずっと戦ってきたわけなんですね。もちろんその間、その1000年間ずっとその国とか宮古市は平和だったわけじゃなくて、戦争があったり、平和な時期があったり、いろんな時期があるわけなんですが、それはその、彼らが、宮古市を守ることに、うまく成功していた時期もあれば、うまくいかなかった時期もあるし、もしくはその、きっと彼らの中、御堂家の中にもね、こういうその彼らの持っている力を、悪い方に使うような人たちがいたこともあると思うんですけど、そういう歴史がずっとある中で、今の、綱乗りの世代があって、で、いわばこれその今の綱乗りの世代っていうのはちょうど現代社会みたいなところに生きてるんですよね。でそうするとこう昔のその伝統的な、御堂家の持ってきた価値観だったり、そういったものっていうのが非常にこう揺らいでいる、そんな時代の中でこうやっぱり彼らの力もちょっと衰えてるんですね。でそれをこう補うために外の世界に飛び出していって力を手に入れてこなきゃならない、そういう話になっていて、でいろんな世界を、綱乗りが冒険をしていく、それをプレイヤーが一緒に楽しむ、もしくは、綱乗りの、目的が達成されるのを、プレイヤーが助けていくみたいな、そんな形でプレイをしてもらえればなと思っています。
So Tsunanori is a member of the prestigious storied Mito family, and the Mito family has worked for over 1,000 years to protect Miyako City. And Miyako City and this entire nation that Miyako City inhabits is a nation that has at times been very peaceful and at times been very besieged by war. And the Mito family has kind of worked to protect it and keep it safe for generations. Sometimes with great success, sometimes with not so much success. It kind of comes and goes. And now we're here in the modern age. And the Mito family is a very traditional family, and they're very steeped in traditional values. And in the modern age, the power of traditional values is kind of weakening a little bit. And the Mito family's power and its ability to protect its land is weakening. And so one of Tsunanori's goals is he sets out on a mission to kind of reclaim the lost power that he needs in order to protect his world. And so because of that, he sets out from Miyako City and he departs amongst all the worlds in this universe to kind of search for the power that he needs in order to protect his homeland. And that's kind of the central crux around which his entire story unfolds.
Well, it's a beautiful city, and you can see that, it's really relatable to the real world, and I think we're going to touch on that later.
Yes.
But I think we have a trailer here, so if we can roll the tape to show the little trailer we got in store for you.
I'm Yumeya Izumi, a schoolgirl who just moved here to Miyako City. But in reality, I'm Amaya Ashling, a super cool witch from Pokra. I've come to this world to collect mana. That way I can pass my witch terms and become the witch I know I can be. But some totally rude nobody took my powers away from me. So now what do I do? Wait, there's some magic that'll help me get them back? Okay. I guess I just gotta follow the green lines. All right, Lolo, here we go.
I'm with you to the end, Amaya.
Once I get all my mana, I'll be the best witch anyone's ever seen. Next time on Saga Emerald Beyond. Mr. President, get down!
Wow, I
Awesome.
Do you guys like cats?
Yes, yes.
I like cats. That's my lipstick today. Lots of cats here. You can
Oh,
see
that's
cat
cool.
lipstick.
I love
okay.
it. I love it.
This was not a prop. I just
Oh,
had it
10,
in my
10 out of
pocket.
10, Kari. I
Yes,
love
thank
it.
you,
I love
thank
it.
you. So Ichikawa-san, we see Amaya, Ashling have a familiar. They're called familiars named Lolo. Is there anything you can tell us a little about Amaya and Lolo and their relationship?
Yeah. Not only Lolo and the other cat. This is Ameya's story. Is a key factor. Is these cats and correcting cat is one of the factor of this story, and correcting the number of the correcting cats, they're a little bit changing the effect on the stories. So that is a very unique point. Looks like the old school type of the Japanese animation, the movie style.
Yes.
Maybe so many cats. There are so many cats.
That's super cute.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Yeah, Lolo is a
Lolo.
Lolo support the Ameya, and he is a support Tsukaima. Tsukaima ってなんて
Familiar.
Familiar. Yes.
I see.
And he battle with her.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Gotcha. And so, Kawaza-san, I like that, Ichikawa-san.
Yes.
I want to know from Kawaza-san, Amaya as a character, she really wants to pass her tests and become a full-fledged witch. And why is this so important to her? If you can go to the next slide, I want you to touch upon that a little bit, Kawaza-san.
そうですね。まあ彼女魔女、彼女の世界は魔女の世界なんですけれども、まあ魔法が使えるってことはまあ何かこう、代償っていうか、あるんですね。こう力が使えるからこそ何か別のことが起きてしまうんですけど、彼女の世界には。でその、起きる出来事から、まあ、魔女の世界を守らなきゃいけない。魔女の力が使えるってことはその義務を負うことになるんですね。でも彼女はその自分の世界を守りたいから積極的に早く魔女になって、みんなと一緒に、戦えるようになりたい。まあ今戦ってるわけじゃないです。いつ起きるかわからない戦いに備えたいんですよね。そういう気持ちがあって、魔女になりたかった。
So Amaya is from a world full of witches. It's called Pulchra, as you can see here. Pulchra, the land of the witches. And obviously, if you're a magic user, using magic always comes at a price. It comes at a cost. There's the toll that must be paid if you wish to wield this kind of power. And in order to use this power, she needs to use this power to protect her land. And the witches kind of use the magic to protect the land from the disaster that they've caused by using the magic. So it's kind of like this vicious cycle that they're in. And Amaya, she's not, in any kind of struggle or fight right now. But Amaya wants to become, a full-fledged witch as soon as she can because she needs to get the power to protect her land. She knows she has to prepare for this fight. And so that's why she's off trying to pass her witch terms and collect all of her cats so that she can reclaim her power and protect her world.
All right, so when you're playing this game, you got to go out and search for cats. Noted.
And can I just say, I want to ask the chat here.
Okay.
Was anyone else getting massive Sailor Moon vibes from that trailer?
I was opening my mouth, but yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
okay, I was not the only one, right?
It's either Sailor Moon or like Kiki's Delivery Service or
something
like kind
that.
of like that balance between
It was
witch and
awesome.
cat,
When that trailer first came in and I saw it, I was like, oh, this is just perfect
Super
for a man.
cute.
This is perfect.
I love it. My childhood self was like, woo!
Yeah.
But yes, with great power comes great responsibility. It's great to learn about these two characters, and I can't wait to see how we see them across these 17 different worlds. And speaking of worlds, we have a sneak peek at one more world in Saga Emerald and Beyond. Right, Neil?
Yes, let's take a look. Can we see the next slide, please? There we go. Okay, so the next world we're going to show you, this is one of the worlds, one of the 17 worlds here in Saga Emerald Beyond, the subterranean haven of Cordyceps. And this is kind of an underground biome. All the creatures there live underground. It's a very buried underneath type of world. And it has a variety of races in it. And one of the races you can meet in this is the Cold, which they're these moles that you can see on the screen right here. And they love eating their earthworms. And Cordyceps is kind of facing a time of change. There's a crisis that's coming to Cordyceps. And the protagonists who visit the land have to kind of help the cold and the other races of this world navigate that crisis and kind of overcome the period of change that's coming to their world. As to what exactly that entails, well, you'll have to play the actual game to find out, but it is something that you want to keep in mind when you visit Kurdistan.
This is so cute, these little moles.
Aren't they
They're
adorable?
good guys, right?
Aren't they great?
Is something bad gonna happen?
I know, Ichikawa-san, you had a special soft
Yeah,
spot.
I love that more.
Yeah.
So very cute. That is a. I cannot explore. I can't spoilers, but this is a kind of the Mole's family stories.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Mole's father is support to us, and a lot of these things that happen in this world. So
see.
very nice. I recommend it to this world. Yes.
And when you turned into the screen, I wanted to be like, give me green mushrooms! Like that guy, like, give me jewels, like green mushrooms. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Okay, so, Neil, if we go to the
Yes.
next slide, please. Since you're with us today, I wanted to ask a little bit about your localization process.
Sure.
How is the game coming along, and do you have anything you want to share since the last stream you did?
Yeah, sure. So, if you've been following kind of the news on media, this game's been in development for a few years now at this point. And although we did have localization work, stretching past over the past couple of years, localization in terms of translating the game proper really started in earnest this past April of this year. So that's kind of when the localization process really kicked into full gear. And the last batch of text, right now it is, what time is it? It's just past midnight, right? Just
like
almost
that.
midnight.
Yeah.
So the last batch of text crossed my email inbox 11 hours ago. So I just got the last bit of text in literally just today. So if you watched the Japanese live stream, you saw they had a let's play of the Japanese version. But we couldn't do that, unfortunately, for the English version because the last batch of text had some UI stuff, and it would have been a very messy experience if that wasn't in game. So unfortunately, we couldn't do a live play for you today, but we're going to see if we can get you a live play in the English for an English version up sometime, maybe in January or February is what we're looking at right now. We want to get you a video of that. And we will have that in the future. But all the stories right now, all the stories are fully translated. I'm just checking over the last batch of text for implementation. And then, we have the whole quality assurance process to go through. It's going to be a little while before we actually finish the game, but the translation right now is all complete for the most part. Yeah.
Well, it seems like the protagonists in the game are super different. How did you express them in the game when they're so different like that?
Yeah, let's take a look at the next slide. So I took some screenshots from the game because I wanted to share with you what the localization kind of looked like. I took these myself, so forgive me if they're a little bit blurry. My computer isn't the best at home sometimes. So we have Tsunanori, right? And he's a university student from Miyako City. And as Ichikawa-san and Kawazu-san were talking about, Miyako City is very much inspired by Kyoto, by the Japanese ancient capital of Kyoto. And Kyoto is kind of, for people from Tokyo is kind of viewed sometimes, a little bit backwards, a little bit quaint type of an area compared to people from the more urban centers of the country. And so when we were expressing Tsunanori in English, we gave him kind of an American Midwestern accent. Think something like, Minnesota or Wisconsin. Something like that that's a little bit quaint and feels a little bit familiar and colloquial to a lot of people. But at the same time, Tsunanori as a character, he's someone who's very confident, he's very self-assured, he knows what he wants, he knows how to get it. And so we wanted to make sure his confidence came across in a way that was, more charismatic and leaderly as opposed to something cocky. And that's kind of what we took efforts to when we were making the translation of Tsunanori.
Someone like you.
I hope I'm not cocky.
No,
I don't
leader like.
Thank you. That's
Yes. Can you tell us, if we go to the next slide, I would love to know, next slide please, a little bit about Ameya. Can you tell us about her?
Yeah, so we see Ameya here. As you saw in the trailer, she has her alter ego of Yumeha Izumi as this, 11-year-old schoolgirl. And this is kind of who she's masquerading as while she's in the world of Miyako City. But in reality, she's Ameya Ashling. She's a really super cool witch from Pulchra, right? And we learned from her trailer that she's a witch in training and she's preparing for her witch terms, which are kind of like the final exam that all witches must pass before they become, a full-fledged witch. And she is an incredibly talented individual, but she is both talented and lucky in equal measure, and her incredible luck saves her on many occasions. And that really manifests in her personality because she's very, carefree, she's very high-spirited, she's very bubbly and affable. And so we wanted to make that come across in her speech patterns quite clearly. And I think you'll find Amaya to be a very endearing character if you play her in the English version.
I like it. She's so cute. Saga Emerald Beyond has a lot of locations also that you talked about. I would love to know if we can go to the next slide a little bit about these locations. How did you express them in game?
Yeah, so we got a couple different screenshots here. These are just kind of eye candy while I talk, so you're not just listening to me blab the whole time.
Gotcha.
So we've got 17 different worlds to explore in Saga Emerald Beyond. And personally, when I was first experiencing this game and playing through it, it really gave me massive Saga Frontier vibes in terms of the way that the worlds are connected with each other, and you've got kind of a central region in which you're, exploring around, and it's a very diverse set of worlds. People and places in these worlds are inspired by a wide variety of different locations. Some of these places have their own languages, and we really wanted to remain faithful to the team's vision for each of the worlds, while making something that on the surface might seem a little bit foreign or a little bit alien feel very familiar to you after spending just, half an hour, 2 hours in one of these worlds. And just like many of us in the real world, a lot of the people in these worlds are facing times of change right now. There's change coming to these worlds, and some people benefit and some people don't benefit. That's kind of the way things go with change. And the localization team took a lot of effort into making sure that these times of change and these very diverse problems that these worlds are facing come to life in a way that feels familiar to all of us. So expressing the worlds in a way that makes them relatable back to us in the real world was something very important to us when we were translating.
Yeah, that totally makes sense because fans really tend to hang on to the protagonists in the game because your team really mirrored the real world, and you can see just like the amount of effort you're putting into the localization. So I think it's really admirable.
Yeah, we took a lot of work to try to make things easy to identify with for people, and I'm really pleased with the result. I think the team that did this did an absolutely stellar job, and I couldn't be more happy with how it turned out.
Right, thank you so much, Loc team. If we could go to the next slide, we're going to move on to questions, Q&A. Yes, so we asked our fans for questions on X, formerly known as Twitter, prior to this show. So we'd like to have Kawazu-san and Ichikawa-san answer some of them. If you can roll the slide to question number 1, here is the first question. Will this be a linear game, chapter-based, or non-linear? I would like to direct this to creator Kawazu-san, if you can let us know.
そうですね。このゲームはちょっと単純にそのリニアかノンリニアかって言い切れないんですけども、まず主人公が複数選べる時点でストーリーは一つではないというところですね。でも一人一人の主人公は、当然テーマがあって目的も持っているので、そこに向かって進んでいくっていう意味では、そのストーリー自体は一本道なんですけれども、いろんな世界に行ける、17個世界があるので、そこにどういう順番で行くのかとか、そもそもどこに行くのかとか、そういうことはプレイヤーがまず選ぶこともできますし、場合によってはもう選べずにどこに行くかわからないところで行ってみたらこんな世界だったっていう、そういう遊びになっている。そしてまた行った世界で起きることっていうのが、ここに行けばこれが起きますっていう、大まかな流れはあるんですが、このゲーム何度も遊んでもらう、主人公5人いますので、ある主人公である世界に行ったら次の主人公で同じところに行ってまた同じことが起きてしまったら面白くないですから、2度同じことをさせないというのが一番そこに達成したくて作っているんですけれども、とにかくその、違う主人公で行く、もしくは同じ主人公で2回目行ったら、同じことが起きない、違うことが起きるんだっていう、そういう意味ではノンリニアなゲームになってます。そういう意味で言うとすごく多分今までにあんまない体験がしてもらえるんじゃないのかなっていうのがシナリオ上は作っている、そういう仕組みで作ってます。
So it's very, very difficult to answer the question of if this game is linear and non-linear because the answer is kind of both. So obviously this is a game that has multiple protagonists, and when there's multiple protagonists, there's not just one story, there's multiple different stories for each of the protagonists to explore. they've got their own themes, they've got their own stories, they've got their own hopes, dreams, and goals. And so each protagonist and their story is very, very different. But each individual protagonist's individual personal story is a bit on the linear side in terms of the overarching goals that they have and the overarching themes that they're trying to fulfill. But at the same time, even though the individual story might be linear, there are so many worlds to explore, and the order of which you explore the worlds, which worlds you do go to, which worlds you don't go to, all of these things provide a very, very non-linear experience for the player. And of course, as you play through the game, this game is designed to be played through multiple times. And when you go to a world for the first time, obviously each world has kind of its own overarching story, but it's not very interesting for the player if you take one protagonist through the world and it has story A, and if you take protagonist 2 and it also has story A, that's not very interesting. So it's much more compelling to have an experience where each time you visit the world, something different happens. And so when you visit the world a second time, things are not going to occur the same way they did when you visited it the first time. And so in that respect, the game is very, very non-linear. And I think we worked very, very hard to create a game in which you will never experience the same thing twice, and we wanted to create a completely new type of RPG experience for the player, and that was our goal.
Wow, so much power to choose, like which direction you want to go, how you want to play the game, how you want to relive the game. I think that's amazing. Can't wait to play.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
First time I play this title, it's a development period. So I and my coworker play same time. The Mido Tsunanori we choose. And but I ask her what happened next. That world, quite different. Everything different. So I'm very surprised that the first time play, but so other guys played same time, but really different from my playing experience. So that is maybe completely non-linear title, I think. Yeah, but of course, Kawazu-san is there, so implement many strategies, many game mechanisms for the only original for the Saga series. So this is a very unique experience. We cannot say now the linear or non-linear. That is a Saga's non-linear titles, I think.
I want to watch Kawazu-san play next time. How does he play? What's his style? Who does he choose? Where does he go?
Yeah, I want to kind of piggyback of what Ichikawa-san said, because I think I just want to emphasize this to make sure that you're understanding it. But it's like, if I played Tsunanori and you played Tsunanori and we go through, we are going to have very different experiences. It's not like Tsunanori has one experience and Amaya has one experience. It just, as soon as you enter the kind of main hub of the game, it just branches from there, and it just kind of goes off and crawls in all sorts of different directions. And the order in which you go is completely up to you. And you have to follow the green lines, right? The green lines lead you.
Gotcha. Okay, well, question number 2, if you could show us the next slide. Will characters be able to equip multiple weapons, items for use in battle similar to Minstrel Song in previous? Or will characters have one weapon slot similar to Scarlet Grace? Ichikawa-san and Kawazu-san, if you both can answer. Start.
結論から言うと、ミンステルソングみたいに複数の武器を持つことができます。スカーレット・グレースは非常にたくさんのキャラクターが仲間に入ってくるゲームだったので、キャラクターを入れ替えることでいわば武器を持ち替えてるのと同じような効果を出したかったんですね。そのためにわざわざ特徴をつけるためにキャラクターの特徴をつけるために一つの武器しか持たせてなかったんですけれど、今回のゲームは、エメラルド・ビヨンドに関して言うとパーティーメンバーは、スカーレット・グレースほど極端に、入れ替えることはないだろうっていうふうに設計をしていますし、それもあってその、複数の武器を、装備させて一つのパーティーの中で、一つのバトルのシチュエーションを攻略していく、いろんな戦略性がプレイヤーが組み立てられるようにっていうふうに考えているので、複数の武器を持てるようになっています。
So to start with the conclusion first. So most characters can equip 2 weapons, just like in Minstrel Song. So characters will have two different sets of weapon skills, two different sets of text that they're going to be able to use. And so in the previous entry, Saga Scarlet Grace, the game had a lot of characters. There were a lot of characters available in the game, and the game was kind of built in such a way that you were swapping out your characters quite frequently in the previous installment. And kind of swapping out the characters took the place of swapping weapons in a lot of ways. And it was built in such a way that swapping out the characters was the way that you expressed strategy and mastery over the game. In this title, we have designed the game in such a way that you won't feel the need to frantically swap out your characters to restore their LP or stuff like that. That's not nearly the case as it was in Saga Scarlet Grace. So instead of that, we wanted to let the characters each equip 2 weapons so that you could increase the strategic variety in combat as opposed to from combat to combat. And so each individual combat, because of that, is going to feel even more tactical, and you have a lot more possibilities opening up before you because of this kind of dual weapon system that we've got.
I like dual wielding. It's pretty
Yes,
cool.
you can dual wield too.
That's a good question. Thank you, Kawazu-san and Neil. Go to question 4, please.
Okay.
Next slide, please. Sorry. Question 4. Okay. How is the overall challenge level compared to Scarlet Grace? I think the earlier installment achieves a new vision for RPG design that manifests, in a certain extent, in its overall challenge level. So I'd like to see Emerald Beyond carry on that vision. So let's go to Ichikawa-san, if you could talk about question number 4.
It's very difficult to answer now, but maybe my opinion, if you are this title is the first title of the Saga series, but it's easier than past title as the first 5 or 10 hours play.
10 hours, okay.
And but gradually that if you want to gradually the little bit changing the some of the boss character, boss enemy is a little bit very tough. Very tough. So and it's kind of difficult to compare. 難しいですよね、探すかと比較するのは。だけど多分さ maybe is some of the boss character is stronger than Saga Scarlet Grace and other past Saga sequel titles enemies.
Interesting.
So なんていうんですかね、英語でやり込み要素というか、めちゃめちゃ難しい敵はめちゃめちゃ今までのシリーズタイトルの中でもかなり強い敵だと思いますし、ただ割と序盤というか途中までのプレーっていうのは割とこうしやすくなってるので、皆さんがそのプレイヤースキルを覚えた後ぐらいにちょっと強敵が出てくるみたいな、そんなゲームバランスにはすごくなってると思います。
So I think one thing we can clarify is that the way that the game balance is kind of set up is that the early game is much easier to get into than the previous installment was. The floor is a bit lower. The barrier of entry is a bit lower, I think is probably the best way to put it. And so the early game is not quite easy, it's not easy. But the early game is much easier compared to Saga Scarlet Grace. But if you're into those kind of, hardcore grinding elements and really difficult bosses and stuff like that, I think you'll find that the difficulty level of Saga Emerald Beyond can be much higher than Saga Scarlet Grace is at the very, very top end. So if you're someone who prefers to just kind of, roll your face over your keyboard for the early battles, you can do that. But if you're someone who really wants to dig in and really get into the nitty-gritty of the battle elements and kind of tackle the hardest challenges, you'll find a lot to enjoy too.
Gotcha. So there's a lot of choice in this as well. Like
Yes.
it's easy barrier of entry, but you can go as deep as you like, depending on how you want to play.
Yeah, you can kind of tailor your difficulty depending on how you're feeling that
That day,
Yeah.
exactly, right. I want a challenge today. Okay, thank you, Ichikawa-san.
Yes.
Thank you. Next slide, please. I think, we're already at the last question. Okay, so thank you, fans. We received various questions about future plans of the franchise. I would love to direct this to producer Ichikawa-san. What can you tell us about the future of the Saga franchise?
Okay. Thank you for today. I'm very happy to meet you. That is one of the strategy of the Saga franchise, the communication with the global fan, and this is my produce way. Because before I worked with the Kawazu-san. I often met the Saga fan, real events. I met the Saga fan and discussion with them in face, in person, and that is a very good reference of the what next. So please let me know the global Saga fans' opinion and thinking, and please send us a comment. And basic my idea, I want to expand this IP for the global. So I released the Saga Romancing Saga 2 remaster in the West, and the Romancing Saga 3 remaster released maybe 5 years ago. And Saga Frontier 2, the Miura producer, and Final Fantasy Legend released.
Saga Frontier 1, you mean?
Well, yeah, Saga Frontier 1.
Yeah.
Yes. So I want to be the set the situation of the everyone can play the Saga sequel, the current generation platform.
That's nice.
That is my thinking now.
I like that.
So please wait. This is the 35th anniversary just started. So Saga Emerald Beyond, please wait.
Really sweet. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Ichikawa-san. I was supposed to even say thanks, Neil, for interpreting, but I think you can see his passion. I've never met such a warm producer with an open heart. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, and it looks like our time is up, but do we have time to answer any questions, or how are we doing on time, Neil?
How are we doing on time? We looking okay for time? I think we should probably wrap it up.
Okay, well,
okay.
Thank you so much for being with us today on the live stream. But before we go, of course, we have to ask our participants to give a few words of goodbye. So I'd like to start with creator Kawazu-san. A few words.
自分から挨拶サガシリーズ、最初のファイナルファンタジー、レジェンド以来34年経ちました。日本だけじゃなくて世界中にいろんなところにファンがいるっていうのは行くたびに、いろんな人に実は言われて、なんで、ドイツ語版が出ないのかとかいろんなところでいろんなことを望まれるんですけれども、本当に自分としてはそれがいろんなところに出していければベストだなと思いますし、新しい、サガシリーズでなければできないRPG の楽しみ方っていうのを、もっともっとやっていきたいと思っていますので、これからも、楽しみに待っていっていただければなと思います。
Wonderful, thank you.
So to all of our Saga fans out there, 34 years have passed since the release of the original Saga game, Final Fantasy Legends, that was released in North America. And I'm very aware that there are lots of fans, not just in Japan, but globally as well. And so every time we have some kind of event, people ask, hey, are we going to have a German version? Hey, are we going to have a French version of these games? And these are all opinions that we want to take into account going forward and seeing, to what extent we can make these questions and these hopes a reality. And more than anything else, what we want to do is we want to be able to continue to provide the kind of gameplay style that you can only experience with Saga, and to create a very Saga-specific game style that appeals to all fans of the franchise. And so we're committed to continue to making these great games, and we hope you'll stick with us. Thank you for joining us today.
Lovely. Thank you, Neil, for interpreting Kawazu-san's words. And next, Ichikawa-san, how about you?
Yeah, thank you very much today. In my childhood, the Final Fantasy Legend is the first title of I played JRPG title. So I'm very dream come true to work with Kawazu-san and Niels. So I used to just a fan of the Saga series, Saga sequel, like you. And so thank you for watching this streaming, this show. And if that is もし好評だったらね、好評だったら if
we like it,
if you like it, I'll do the next live streaming.
You'll be back.
Yes.
Yeah. Please wait that. Thank you very much today. Bye.
And finally, last but not least, the man of the hour, Mr. Neil.
Man of the hour, yeah, I
Yes.
wish. No, it's funny listening to Ichikawa-san say that he was growing up as a Saga fan because he and I are almost the same age.
Me too.
We're almost the
Me
same
too.
age. And so, I grew up playing the first Saga game I played was Saga 2, Final Fantasy Legend 2 was the first game. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I get paid to do this for a living. Like, this is actually what I'm doing with my life. This is awesome. And it's just so great to be a Saga fan these days because we're so dedicated to making sure that all of our fans all throughout the world are able to experience this wonderful franchise. And being able to be with all of you on this journey is just so wonderful for me. And being able to, see your comments there in the chat, I see it in the monitor in front of me.
Yeah,
I stalk you all on Discord. I follow your Twitters. I'm all into all of that, so I see what you guys are all talking about all the time. And it's great, and it's wonderful to see your passion and experience. And being able to be part of this community is just amazing. And whether you're a new fan or an existing fan of the franchise, we're just so happy to have you along with us. I want to go over some administrative stuff, I think, before we go for today. So a couple things. Obviously, we have Saga Emerald Beyond is going to be releasing on April 25th, 2024, which is just about 4 months from now. But of course, there's lots of other Saga stuff going on right now as well. Romancing Saga Reuniverse, our mobile smartphone title, is currently undergoing its 3.5-year anniversary. I don't know how you pronounce that in English. I think it's 3.5-year anniversary. And there are a lot of events going on. There's been a lot of systems put into the game to make it even easier to play than before. So if you want that Saga fix, Romancing Saga Reuniverse is awesome. It's fun to play. It's easier to pick up than ever before. So if you haven't given it a shot, go search it on your Google Store, your App Store, or whatever mobile device of choice you have. Go for it. And then we also have a bunch of sales going on right now for the various Saga titles across multiple platforms. So if you're looking to pick up, that Christmas gift for your friend or for your family or for yourself, buy a gift for yourself, treat yourself, you deserve it. The Saga games are on sale right now. So you can pick up a Saga game, whether it's that remaster you've been eyeing or if you're playing it for the first time, we got a sale going on. So go on ahead and check it out. And of course, as Ichikawa-san said, we've got a lot of stuff planned for Saga in both the months and years ahead. We have nothing we can share with you right now, unfortunately. But the future for the Saga franchise, I think, is very, very bright. And we're all very happy to be able to continue to work on this and bring you a bright future for Saga. So we hope you'll stick with us, and thank you for joining us today.
Gotcha. And before we go, I wanted to ask, is there an easy one to start with? Do you have to start from the beginning, or is there one that you recommend starting with?
Yeah, so basically, the Saga games are not sequential. You don't have to play them in any kind of order. So whichever title you want to pick up is really fine. I think probably if you're looking to pick up, a console title, I think probably the two easiest ones to pick up are probably Saga Frontier Remastered or Minstrel Song Remastered. Both of those games are classics, and a lot of the features installed in them are quality of life features to make things really easy to play and more comfortable to play than if you played, 20 years ago, 30 years ago on these games.
Don't age us.
Exactly. How old am I? I don't have enough fingers to count that high. No, but Saga Frontier Remastered or Minstrel Song Remastered are both great entry points to the series if you're looking to get started. So take a look into those if you haven't played a Saga game before.
Awesome. So thank you again to our guests and to all of you who joined today, all of those in the chat. We love you. Thank you so much. The Saga team, as you can see, is committed to interacting even more with our overseas fans. Very, very excited. So we hope that you all stay tuned for upcoming information and events. We hope to see you soon, and please spread the word that Saga Emerald Beyond will be launched on April 25th, 2024. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
See you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.